Hi and welcome. In today's video I want to look at properties in Sweden again. Like, this is a series of videos I think I do it around once a month, where I just look at amazing properties, cheap properties here in Sweden, because you will not believe it. Sometimes you get a house for $10,000, 100,000 Swedish krona, and of course there's always renovations needed. But if you can live in an amazing area, and some of the houses I present to you, and all of them in this video, are max 100,000 US dollars, a million Swedish krona. And this time I also will try to tell you a little bit more about the environment where this house, because I'm primarily looking at houses, where it is located and why it is actually quite interesting. Not only maybe the house itself, but also the environment, if it is close to water. So in today's video I want to talk a little bit more about it, and then I want you to tell me which house you would buy, which house you thought was the best, and also kind of which environment you would like to move to here in Sweden. Is it more closer to a city, or is it the countryside? Is it in a little village or totally remote? Is it by the sea? Like, I would love to know what your ideal kind of house should be located here in Sweden. And just to clarify, every house you normally find, there is a bidding on it. It doesn't always have to be the case, but it's like a system here in Sweden. I use the website hemnet.se, and I think that is kind of the main website where a lot of people are going to. There are some others, and you also have property managers or companies where you can go to and also look for houses. That's definitely also possible, but the bidding is very normal here. That means when you see a price, it can go up, but it can actually also go down. It depends really on the demand. If people are looking for a house, people love that house, and there are more people who are interested in that house, then it is possible that it will go higher. But if there's no one who wants to buy the house, you can even underbid the original price. And as usual, now we have November, around November 2025. The property market looks okay. There was a time where it looks worse, but it's also not, the peak or an amazing kind of situation. And then it's not in a super amazing situation either. Interest is still higher than what it used to be like a few years ago before the pandemic. But I would say Sweden is still quite affordable, especially if you're not looking in the cities. Of course, the cities are always a bit more expensive, but I concentrate on houses in the environment, and they're usually outside of bigger cities or towns in general. So make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, but also sign up to my newsletter, because I usually introduce you to 3 properties every time I send a newsletter. So you can also have a look, and if you are really interested in properties in Sweden, and maybe you want to buy one, or you just want to look at them and follow what's out there in Sweden, then it definitely is worth signing up to my newsletter. There's a link in the description down below. So without further ado, let's get started. Before we look at the first Swedish house, I quickly wanted to introduce you to Lovevery, who've been in my videos a few times before. I really love them and their subscription boxes. My girls practically grew up with them, and I can tell you they were always so excited to open the boxes. It's like Christmas every 3 months. Each box is packed with so much thought. If you haven't heard of Lovevery, they make stage-based play kits for babies and toddlers, starting from 0 years old. Everything is designed with child development experts, so you're not just getting random toys, you're getting things that are actually helpful for their brains and skills at that age. The toys are super high quality, very simple and calm in design, and they last. We still have pieces from older kids that the girls play with in new ways as they grow. What I also really appreciate is that they tell you how to use each toy and why it's good for your child, which as a parent just takes away so much guesswork. It's one of those things that feels both fun for the kids and reassuring for you. If you're looking for a meaningful present this year, I honestly think a Lovevery subscription is the best Christmas gift, especially for new parents or little ones in your life. There's a link in the description down below that gives you up to 25% off from the 24th of November until the 8th of December 2025. Now let's jump into the first Swedish house. So here is the first house, and it is actually 925,000 Swedish krona, and it's actually reduced 20%, which is interesting. So sometimes that happens, that maybe the demand is not so high, or they really want to sell it and they don't really have much time, so they reduce the price or do something like that. So yeah, it's under 1 million Swedish krona, which is around almost 100,000 US dollars, so a little bit under. But yeah, it looks really nice, the first impression here. And it comes with a lot of plot area. Living area is 94 square meters, not super much, 4 rooms. But yeah, 100,000 US dollars, I think it's still like very affordable, and we can have a look what's included. But let's have a look. I always like to look where it is located. And here it says approximately 1.6 kilometers to water, so a little bit further away from water, by a road, and it looks quite remote, to be fair. Here are a few houses. And let's see where it is located. But the funny thing is, like, a lake is never that far away here in Sweden. I love that about Sweden. It's closer to a little village, I think, which we can have a look. But yeah, in general, it is in kind of, I mean, I would say, it's funny, I don't actually know location-wise where the north of Sweden starts and where the middle of Sweden is, because it looks like this would be the middle of Sweden. But then Stockholm and under is south of Sweden. But I'm not sure if Stockholm is actually south of Sweden already. But you can let me know in the comments below. But you can see it's closer to Stockholm, also close to Örebro, but it is still like quite a remote location. Let's have a look at the house first, and then let's have a look also at the area. So that's the house. You can see there's a lot of nature around it. So it is quite remote. It's very Swedish, this entrance. I love it. It has the red color, Swedish color as well. It looks quite well maintained. And here is the inside. It looks quite charming, with the wood. It's like not modernized or anything, but also not like the worst. It's actually quite charming. Here's the kitchen. Here's a very traditional like oven, which is really cool. I think, a lot of houses this stays because it's very iconic, isn't it? You don't want to get rid of it necessarily. Here's the kitchen. You can see it's like a little bit run down, but at the same time quite charming. It's a good photo, I guess. Kitchen from the other side again. Another fireplace, and they're actually using it. You can see they have wood here. Living room. This is a bit interesting with the curtain here. Leads to another room. I would probably put a door in there. But when you buy like a 1 million SEK or $100,000, like, there's maybe something you can improve, right? But the first impression is pretty good. That's house number 1. You can let me know. Okay, so here is the hallway with the stairs. That definitely looks a little like older. And here's a bedroom. It's very interesting because sometimes it looks really old, and I'm sure it is quite old, but they really tried not to alternate it too much, or maybe just making it, a bit better, more livable. But at the same time, there's a lot of like charm. I personally like it when there's a mix of like the old and the new. Here's another room actually. Interesting window as well, like bespoke window. You get a little house cottage. Oh, actually, it's a sauna. That's pretty cool. That's a cool add-on. And you have a little shed, or a little bigger shed, I would say. You have your tools there, or you can use it as that. And then you can see the property is pretty big. The surrounding area. Here you can see what it looks like, where it's located. You have like a beach close by, probably 1.6 kilometers away, like we saw earlier. Love that about Sweden, that you always have like that like close by. And here I just want to show you, normally you can actually on Google Maps look what the house looks like, maybe, yeah, but there's no view, you know, with the, how do you say, like the Google Maps view. But here you can see you have a few neighbors there, and then it's actually just outside of this village here, and there you probably have everything. And I looked it up. It's called Vingåker, Vingåkers kommun. And then I sometimes like to look at like what's around in that area, right? What do the houses look like? I don't want to click on any of these now because, you know, otherwise the video is going to be super long. But yeah, it looks quite nice, like nice Swedish area. Let's have a look at the next house. So that's much cheaper actually, like half, like more than half the price. It also is reduced. It was 450,000, which was 48,000 US dollars, but now it's even cheaper. Now it's probably more closer to 40,000 US dollars. And you can see it has 3 rooms, living area, 147 square meters, and also like a plot area. Also an old house, 1938. And here we can have a look where it's located. Here it's the greenhouse, so it is part of a village. It's not like as remote as the other one, although the other one was quite close to a village. And then we can have a look where Överum is located, this little village. And it's also actually in the south, let's call it the south of Sweden, right? Probably the closest, biggest town is Linköping. We also have Jönköping here, or Norrköping. All the Köpings around it. Okay, and let's have a look at the house. You can see outside already it is a little bit of an older house, but yeah, it's 40,000 US dollars. It's actually pretty cheap, but you can see from this first photo, first impression, it is livable, very much livable. And it is possible that someone older used to live there, you know, and sometimes when they bought the house or whatever, they haven't like renovated in decades. But it looks definitely, the floor looks really nice. It's definitely livable. Oh, that's a very lovely view of your neighborhood. It's also in nature. You have the entrance here. Definitely outside, not much has happened. You can see it definitely looks a little bit older. So that's probably the first thing I would renovate. And here's the garden. There's definitely a lot of space. And yeah, it looks like behind you is like a forest. We are back inside in the kitchen. It's a very charming kitchen. I don't even hate the color combination, which is like a salmon color with a green. I love the green color actually, but even the combination is not too bad. Here's white. The kitchen is an older kitchen, but still looks quite nice actually. Here's the living room again we saw earlier. That's interesting, like these seats here. Is that an instrument? Looks like a piano, but it's somehow not. Then here we have the hallway. Everything a little bit outdated, but still not bad at all. Then here is a toilet that definitely is, you know, like an older toilet. But honestly, every time I see this, it looks not as bad, our toilet, but our bathroom is not renovated, and it looks a little bit closer to that than to a modern one. And then we have upstairs where you can have a bedroom or like an office. It's like kind of a little bit of a living room, second living room they did. Here's another bathroom with a shower. Bedroom. Yeah, it's definitely a bit older. Washing room, but it's honestly not too bad. And you have a little winter garden, and that's the property here. Not too bad, especially for the price. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And then we can have a look on Google Maps a little bit. But yeah, you can see it's pretty much at the edge of this little village. And then we can also have a look at Google Maps. But we saw quite a bit on the photos already, so it's not too bad. And obviously we could walk around a little bit. That house looks also nice. But it definitely is not next to a big road. It goes up a bit fast, and then the bigger road comes, so it's quite a nice location. And then we can also look at Överum. And, you know, I don't know if it's a good representation, you know, sometimes, I mean, this is definitely not Överum. So normally I would spend much more time to look at, you know, what's really in Överum. If I'm interested, you know, in buying, I would have a look a little bit more. The house number 3 is 975,000 Swedish krona, which is, yeah, pretty much 100,000 US dollars. And you can see here it says bidding in progress, and I translated this actually. Normally everything is in Swedish, but because we have viewers from all over the world, it's nice to see it in English. But that also means that people have started to bid on this property, so people are interested in that home. We can see 4 rooms, 90 square meters living area, plot area, and also the year of construction is 1909. So it's quite an older house, but it must have been renovated at some point for sure. I always go through it, but I can't spend too much time on each property. I will leave all the links in the description below so you can have a look yourself. But otherwise the video is getting too long and everyone wants to see some more. But you can also see, here's the house, the green dot, and the location seems quite nice, right? It says approximately 250 meters to water, which is pretty cool, like next to a lake. And then it's also part of a little, like, I always want to say town, but it's probably more like a village. But that means you have some neighbors, you know. And then we can see where it's located. And it's also in the southwest, close to Gothenburg. So location is quite nice, right? You're part of a community, you're close to a bigger city where you can drive, you're next to a lake with some nature. Let's have a look at the picture. So I love this already, like, right? It's like very Swedish entrance, looks beautiful. It's a very good first impression. Surroundings also look quite nice. Plot area, a little outside bit. I just love these kind of entrances, so beautiful. And here we're going inside. Oh, and that looks actually quite nice. So it definitely has been renovated at some point. I mean, it is quite old, 1909, but it has been more renovated recently. The kitchen looks super nice. I would definitely leave it as it is, like that. Here's the living room. The walls maybe not so much mine, but the rest looks actually good. This is still living room slash dining room, but it looks really nice. Like, and then you have this beautiful fireplace here, and you know, you use it. You have a lot of wood here. Next to us is the kitchen, and then you can go upstairs. And here you can see also that's the entrance. Here's the bathroom. That looks quite nice. Going around the corner to have a shower. A bedroom. Yeah, I mean, for that price also, like, not bad. Upstairs bed, which is another bedroom. You can see the floor. Like a wardrobe. Okay, like a room where you can change. I mean, I definitely wouldn't leave out all these clothes in general, like make it a bit nicer, but that's just a personal preference. And you can have a view out of the window and you can see some neighbors. Yeah, I really like this property. This is my favorite so far. What do you think? That was house number 3. And here you are, you can see this is a school nearby, and it's also like a newly built school. You can definitely see. Yeah, camping is around, like a beach. You can see here the area. Wow, this looks also really cool. I mean, that's what I love so much about Sweden, right? It looks very Nordic. Then you can go kayaking here, a massive beach where you can hang out in the winter. Beautiful. I'm such a fan of this. Let's have a quick look. I mean, okay, you don't have a street view on Google Maps, so we don't really have to go too much into this. But here you can see the little... And then here the surroundings, and actually it's called Överlida, and someone did a 46-minute video walking tour of Överlida. So I'm not going to show you this, and I haven't really looked at it, but that's perfect, right? If you wanted to move to Överlida, you probably know what it looks like by just looking at this video. But it looks like a nice area, a very nice area, so you can check it out. I'll leave the link in the description below. Then number 4, we have 2 more left. Here we have one property for 995 Swedish krona, so very similar to the one before. It's also almost 100,000 US dollars. Okay, let me see. Swedish is bostadsrätt, which means tenancy agreement. So this is a little bit different to ownership. So, which is, in my humble opinion, always a little really trickier because you're not having 100% ownership. It's probably what I remember now. I think you're buying. You basically have a limit to how long you can use. Sometimes it's like 100 years. So it sounds like a long time, but maybe not so good if you want to give it to your kids or something. But still, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the area first. It's definitely close to the sea, it says here. The sea, okay. So it's also in the south. And yeah, closer to the sea. And you can see it looks like lakes, but actually the sea is coming in here. So, and it's not like part of maybe a village, but there you can see you have neighbors, many neighbors. Let's have a look at the house, because you can actually not see it in the first photo. You can see a little sign here, so that's the house. So you can really see what the surroundings look like. But you definitely have quite a few neighbors. This is not super remote. Then we see inside, and it looks very modern. So it's more like a modern house. Beautiful terrace, beautiful garden, living room, and here's the house actually. So you have the front and the back, mainly a garage, left and right neighbors, big kitchen. You can see it's very close to water as well, so you can probably walk down and have a little dip on the sea, but it will be colder than the lake, for example. Hallway looks also nice. Nice hallway. And here is probably the living room with the fireplace. Hallway again. I love it when they always jump a little bit with the pictures. But yeah, actually not. Yes, part living room, maybe part dining room. I mean, that is a little, you know, very personal items here, I would say. The furniture looks definitely very special. It's interesting that it was so modern. The kitchen looked so modern, even hallway. And then you have these kind of furniture. But why not, right? Some people really love that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Kitchen again, which looks a bit different from the rest. So the kitchen, probably in the description they say they have renovated it recently. It looks like that. Laundry room. Back to the living room. And this is the proper living room. So the other one was more like a dining room. This is the living room. It looks like the sofa is really far away from the TV. Outside, a little terrace with a roof. Bathroom looks okay. Bedroom definitely looks not bad at all. And look at that shower. Some people just love that kind of shower where the water comes from left and right, not only above. It's cool to have. Another room we have here. Bedroom. Another bedroom. And here we have the outside bit again, what it looks like. But you can see this, it's not like a village. It's basically just an area where people decided to build some houses, but you still probably have to drive with your car to a supermarket and kind of. But, you know, it's nice to sometimes live a little bit more outside, and maybe it's a very close community as well. You can be friends with your neighbors. It's definitely quite big houses. And here's the layout of the house and where it's located. So pretty much at the end of the road. So let's have a look. So this time you can have a bit of a street view. Let's have a look. I mean, we already, the good thing is with the photos you can see quite a bit, but here you can zoom in sometimes a little bit more. And you can see like some more, you know, you can especially see the other houses, the other neighbors. I mean, you probably would go there anyways before you buy, of course. But yeah, I love that area though. It's quite quiet, and I love the Swedish houses here. Very cool. And then you obviously have a little bit of a view. So it's Almvik, it's called, the area. And I looked it up a little bit to see, you know, what's around there. They have a Christmas market, which is amazing. We are end of November, almost December, so Christmas markets are beautiful. There are many in Sweden. Okay, let's have a look at the last house. The last house is 795,000 Swedish kronor, so a little bit cheaper, more around 85,000 US dollars. And it's ownership villa with 4 rooms, 95 square meters. Plot area is quite big as well, from 1922. You can see the operating costs. It's not cheap. And then it's approximately 50 meters to water to a lake and 2.8 kilometers to the sea. We zoom out a little bit, and we are still south of Stockholm, closer to Linköping. So we had another property earlier, close to those 3, Norrköping, Linköping and Jönköping. But you can see it's so much water everywhere, right? That's so amazing. One of the things I love about Sweden. But you can see it's also a little village. And then you can also see that here's a beach right over the street. So that's pretty cool. Let's have a look at images. Yeah, you can see how close the water is. Which house is it? Probably this one, the red one here. It's also a very traditional Swedish house. And then you can literally walk down to the beach area. I think that's the beach area. That's pretty cool. That's inside, so it's very charming Swedish house again. There's the kitchen. Love that they put the keys in there. So you can definitely tell they left a lot of the traditional inside, which is, you know, you can still renovate this but leave, like, you know, the kitchen, for example, if you like it. Definitely it doesn't have many furniture from before, so you can see really the walls and everything. Not my cup of tea, but that's something not the worst to basically change. You can see a little bit like very worn out walls, but traditional fireplace oven. That's probably the hallway. Yep. And you can see, you can go upstairs, the bathroom. Yeah, you can see the walls definitely haven't been touched for a while. So that is something you maybe want to change. There's the terrace. Inside. Yeah, you can see it's like older wardrobes and things like that. But still, like, it's still very charming, and I can so see, you know, some people have a talent for transforming a space, and they can already see, you know, what it can look like. And here you have the balcony with a little view. That's nice. Different rooms, bathroom. Yeah, I didn't expect the bathrooms to be like modern. That you probably have to completely redo. And this is probably in the basement, yeah. Basement, but you have a basement here, so you can use it. Oh, and this is an outside loo. This is probably when it was built. I can imagine, you know, maybe you didn't have toilets. I forgot what the year was it was built. But they started out, you know, with toilets outside. And sometimes you still have that. But this also has an inside toilet now. And you get an extra little house. I think that belongs. It looks like an extra house, actually. Do they show it from inside? But that's the garden, the entrance. Swedish entrance. I like these little hearts here. It's very cool. Yeah, you can see this belongs to the property. They don't show it from inside, but you get an extra little house. Maybe it can be a guest house. You can also see the roof is a little older, but here you can walk down and you find this. That's amazing. Oh my god, this is like basically like a playground, and a natural playground for kids. I can see this so much. It's beautiful, very beautiful. With a little bridge. I like that they add all these images. Yeah, here's the house, you can see. Wow, the area looks nice. And here you see the supermarket, which is very close. Actually, it's for some reason it looks like we have already looked at property like this in one of the previous videos, maybe. Because that somehow looks familiar, but then I have looked at so many different Swedish properties already, so I don't know anymore. Yeah, you can see here, we don't have to do that. You get the picture. And then here Edsbruk is the area, or like the little village. You can have a look. Yeah, some beautiful corners. Yeah, so this was it for today. Let me know which house you prefer. Which one was your favorite? I think it was number 3. I was quite And then the ones after 4 and 5 are also not bad, or like the 4. But number 3 is my favorite. So let me know in the comments down below what's your favorite house. And thank you so much for watching till the end. I will see you in my next video. Hej då!